Country Run and Sport. My name is Sarah Freya. I'm the general manager here. I'm so appreciative that everyone could be here tonight. This definitely surpassed our expectations, so thank you so much for being a part of this. First medical outreach night at our new Rocklin location. The last medical outreach night we did was entirely virtual, so it's really great and exciting to be able to hold events like this in person again. And those of you who are here virtually, welcome as well. And Don may have mentioned it, but please remember to put in the chat your shoe size as well as your first and second choice of brand so we can get you your seed shoes. And for those of you here in person, if you didn't sign in on our sign-in sheet, make sure you sign in before you leave. Again, just with your name, shoe size, first and second choice of brand, and we'll try our best to accommodate everyone's preferences. And for the seed shoes, we're going to be shipping them right here to the store, and we'll give you a call when they're ready to be picked up. And if there's for the EDH and Folsom area doctors that are here tonight, just let us know where you want to pick up the shoes and we can send them to our Folsom or El Dorado Hills locations. And before we start, I'd like to give a special thanks to all of our brand representatives who are here tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and they're going to present some awesome information. And you know, it's thanks to their generosity that we're all getting great seed shoes. I'd also really like to thank our long-term medical partners that we have in the El Dorado Hills Folsom area, as well as the new relationships we're going to build here with the medical professionals in Rocklin. And our co-founder, Leon Shahinian, is going to say a few words about that.
I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the great long-term medical partners that we've had the privilege of working with going way back to 2013. So these are going to be medical providers like in the Cameron Park, El Dorado Hills, and Folsom location areas. And just to name a few that are here in person and online, we wanted to acknowledge Dr. Bajwa with Marshall Medical Center, Dr. Hook with Dignity Health, Dr. Angelo with NorCal Spine and Sport, Dr. Mikla with Kime Performance Physical Therapy, and Dr. Casey with El Dorado Physical Therapy. I think those are all the people that were here out of those areas. And I believe Dr. Long is on as well with El Dorado Family Chiropractic. So we appreciate your support of our store. Every day between our El Dorado Hills store and our Folsom store, we get several new customers that come in specifically because their medical providers sent them to us. So you can imagine this is a very meaningful part of our business. And the relationships that we've developed with medical providers in our communities are extremely important to us. So we care about them a lot, and just are very appreciative. So what we're trying to do here and what our goal is to build the trust and the confidence with the medical community here in the Roseville, Rocklin, Lincoln area, so that you feel comfortable sending your patients, your clients to our store to be fit properly for footwear and anything else that they need. So with that, I will send it over back to Sarah.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Leon. And again, just for those of you here on Zoom, so the recording will conclude after the formal presentations and Q&A is complete. But for those of you who are here in person, I definitely encourage you to hang out, explore the store, introduce yourselves to all of our brand representatives, and then just ask any additional questions you have for any of us. Cool, so we'll get started. So first, just like a brief history of Gold Country Run and Sport. If you don't already know, we were founded in 2013 by our owner, Don Cox, as well as our co-founder, Leon Shahinian in El Dorado Hills. And in that time in 2013, they believed in the potential growth of the area. They also believed in the active community there, runners, walkers, hikers, as well as like the very active retired community that definitely are in need of like comfortable and supportive shoes. And since 2013, like we've definitely seen that growth come to fruition in the Folsom El Dorado Hills area. And then moving into Rocklin in fall of last year, we see that same potential for growth. You know, between all of the high schools in the area, the Sierra College, William Jessup, the trail systems and all the road races here, it's clear it's a very large community to serve, and we're thrilled to have the opportunity to do so. So what your clients can expect when they come into Gold Country, if you refer them to us, is a personalized and unhurried experience. We don't take a hands-off approach here. We don't wait for our guests to go to a shoe wall and pull a shoe and say, I want to try this on in this size. What we're here to do is provide education and make recommendations on products based on the information that they tell us. So everyone who walks into any of our stores, we're always going to greet them with the same line, you know, welcome to Gold Country, what brings you in today? And it's an open-ended question that's designed to encourage dialogue. We want to learn what their goals are and what they're looking for in footwear. And they could reply by saying like they're here on a medical referral, or they're looking for a specific model or a specific brand. Kind of whatever that answer is, we're going to take them through our fit process that involves our Aetrex scanner, which our rep Jeff is going to talk about in just a few minutes. But as we're going through this fit process and as we're taking them through the scan, we're telling them tons of unique information about their feet, about their gait, even their posture. And while we're informing them about themselves, they're also giving us more information. We're asking them a lot of questions. Like for your patients here in a medical referral, obviously a big question we're going to ask is like, what kind of pains are you dealing with? What foot issues are you having? What back hip issues are you having? And like, what are your goals today? What are you hoping to improve? And also, you know, if they're a runner, like what kind of mileage are you running each week? What kind of surfaces are you running on, road versus trail? And if it's a work shoe, again, like what kind of surfaces are you standing on, or how much time on feet are you spending each day? And the whole purpose of this like thorough process where we get to know our guests is so that we can make really killer shoe and insole recommendations. In a typical fit, we're going to pull maybe 3 shoes and 1 to 2 inserts. And because we've taken the time to really get to know them and their fitness goals, you know, usually some combination of those products is just going to like knock it out of the park for them. And if it doesn't, like we'll keep trying until we find some combination that does. And of course, like if they come in with a referral from you and you've recommended a specific model that you would like them to try, we're definitely going to pull that along with our other selections as well. So yeah, so that's a bit about Gold Country Running Sport and our kind of fit philosophy. So now I'm going to turn things over to Jeff, our Aetrex rep. He's going to kind of walk us through the key features of our Albert scanner, as well as tell us about the insoles.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Leon. Thanks for having me here today. Oh, yeah, I might check one too.
Second.
H to the headphone. So I'm not sure how much this can help, but I'm kind of a loud talker anyway. So Aetrex, we're a technology and orthotics company. We've been around for 80 years, but more importantly, we use what we like to do is we use data and machine learning and different metrics to improve the fit process and try and get the best possible result for the customer in terms of orthotics and shoe recommendations. We partner up with some of the best run specialty and comfort shoe, not only companies, but the stores as well. Obviously, Gold Country has a real high level and is a perfect example of a store where you come in and you get a very personalized experience, an elevated retail experience that can't be replicated online. And then the medical outreach marries perfectly with kind of what Gold Country does, what we try and give to the customer. I'll take you through the process a little bit, but a lot of what we do is we do this suite of advanced measuring. Right now, it's basically 16 points of measuring where you can, and I'm speaking to medical people, so I'll show you a little bit, but it's specifically from, you know, this bone to this tendon and all of these specifics that you can get the fitting process that transcends just your length and your width. We're really trying to get the right shoe fitting and the right orthotics in the person, and as well as we touch on a couple of things that just alleviate common foot problems in the form of like either a posted orthotic or a net pad. And I'll take you through the process a little bit there. I have Steve with me today, and he's going to help me scan, and so I'll take you through the fitting process. We start off, there's 4 sets of stereo cameras, and we get a 360 view of the feet, and it basically, just to bore you completely to death, there's 3 million points of data that go boiled down to about 2 million that are actually part of the 3D foot scan. And then we go straight to a pressure scan, and it just shows you where the pressure is. This next part is a gait analysis. Start with your left foot first. And we just get a nice idea of where his heel strike and toe strike is, and just a nice gait analysis where we can get a good picture of what's going on with him. So in Steve's case, we look here, and the first thing that we're looking at is, let's see, we're going to measure where his arches are. So where we measure it, there's on this pad, there's 4 sensors per square centimeter, and the machine counts how many squares it takes for the to determine the arch. So if there was no squares here, it would determine that he has a low arch with a lot of, if you might see a lot of pressure in here. And then in my case, you might see 2 little islands here that would indicate a high arch. A high arch foot tends to be a little more on the stiffer side, and they tend to have more forefoot pressure. In the case of a high arch, our machine will default to a net pad, which supports the forefoot area here. And people with high arch tend to have more problems in the forefoot, like metatarsalgia and different areas like that. And then people with low arches tend to have ailments associated with low arches, and we recommend a posted orthotic. It's kind of a gentle post, but the information that we get from this particular scan is kind of we get an idea of, when we're looking at the 360 view of the scan, we could check the pronation axis, and we can get an idea. He's pretty straight up here. Your foot's a little boring. I need someone with really messed up. So we don't see much pronation. It's a little tame on this side, but obviously you guys are medical professionals, so you see stuff that would probably scare all of us. But we get an idea of what's going on here. We could also look at the natural zone of to get maybe a better view. I call this cadaver view sometimes, but yeah, so we can get an idea. But more importantly, the advanced set of measurements that we have, we can look. So when we look at the general shoe fitting, when you go into a shoe store, especially if you were going to Macy's or something, someone might come in and they say, I'm a size 8. Well, first of all, 70% of people don't know the proper shoe size in terms of length. And the second thing is that length is such a small part, an arbitrary part of what's going on. So I pulled this percentile to the general population. Steve's is slightly below the median population in terms of length. That's just a metric. In the width, he's basically in the middle. But when you see his instep and the girth of his foot, you could see that he's a lower volume foot with a little bit of a wider toe box. He's measuring an E in the toe box. So the type of footwear at Gold Country, like Sarah would know, the type of footwear that she would pull that would be appropriate for Steve would be someone like Ultra comes to mind because it has a more generous toe box, and you can cinch down the laces and it would give them perfect fit. So that's kind of like the level of the granular level that we work with our retailers about. Like, we get down to the nitty gritty. We're transcending to size and width, get matching people to their specific footwear. I'm a little short on time, so I'm going to split over to the customer recommendations. So the machine will come up with a recommendation. What are we trying to do? We're trying to alleviate the pressure. What's pressure? You're going to have to stand somewhere. There's going to be some pressure, but pressure might manifest itself in your knees or your hips or your back. And we're trying to generally be supportive, alleviate plantar fasciitis. Those are the first things that we do. And the other thing that we look for is just like general alignment issues, which is something that you guys see every day. One more thing about the way that, as far as on the medical side of what we do, each scan, technically on the back end, we have a 3D lasting information for each and every person. So we are working with a lot of fit labs. Like if you happen to make custom orthotics in your store, each person, when you scan, this information in the form of a QR code gets sent to their phone, and they can, if you were to have a patient come to Gold Country, they could get this scan and bring it to you guys, and you could do an analysis with all the 16 measuring points. So if you happen to be doing anything custom, you can use Gold Country as part of your custom bidding process. We have a kind of a light custom that we do from this machine. It doesn't really interfere with medical because we don't do any advanced posting or med pads, and we can't do any lifts or anything like that. But like if you happen to have someone who just needed some light customization in terms of pressure, we do offer that here as well. I think that's about what I have for you guys today. So when you're done, if anyone wants to come and get a scan, we can do an analysis. That's what I have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff, for that info. Kind of the light customization he was talking about are these guys. They're 150 retail, and they're totally 3D printed, the entire thing. There's 14 different printing zones there. So you've got some that are printed that are softer, where you need more pressure relief than others. And even if you get one off the shelf, each style has 4 different customizations. So you could get a neutral one with a metatarsal pad, a posted one, and a posted one with a metatarsal pad if you both pronate and have excessive forefoot pressure. And then we have 3 different levels of cushion. So there's like 12 different customizations you can get just off the shelf.
Yeah, to add to what Sarah was saying, like if you had a specific patient that you knew had a pronation issue or potential like metatarsal or something like that, then we can accommodate that with off the shelf. Obviously if you're making customs, that's a whole different animal, but like that's a simple off the shelf solution that if you guys have the right customer for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep going with our other brand presentations, and we do have a lot of info to get through. So we're just gonna please hold questions until the end. And for those of you on Zoom, you can put your questions into the chat, and Dan's gonna kind of mark down your questions, and we'll address them at the end of the presentations. So next up, we've got Megan, who's gonna talk to us about Brooks and Aetrex. So let me give my
Thanks. Here you go.
so often, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan. I represent both Brooks and Aetrex. I did have a few questions if they were related brands. They are not. I just happen to represent both of them. I'm based out of here in Sacramento. I've been with Brooks for about 10 years now and Aetrex for 3. So please feel free to stay after and chat with me if you have any questions about either brand. I'm happy to answer. I'm going to start off with Brooks. Who here has not heard of Brooks before? Okay, good. That's usually what I hope for. So Brooks is obviously really focused on biomechanics when we come to our footwear. We have both neutral and support shoes. If you guys remember the old support shoes of the past, you guys remember those really heavy, clunky shoes, that really solid, stiff posting in them. That has kind of gone away for about 2 or 3 years now. And that all came about through our Stride Signature program that has really focused on how to support the foot more holistically from the knee all the way down to the ankle and through the foot. I have these booklets over on my station, and I really encourage you guys to pick them up. This explains how Stride Signature works, how our support system within our shoes work, and how our neutral shoes work as well. If you guys are just taking a look at the shoes side by side, anytime you see these little diagonal pieces here, that is our guide rail. And our guide rail is our new structural support inside of our shoe that took place of our old, more rigid support system. So anytime you see these guide rails, you'll know that this is a more supportive shoe for someone who pronates. If you don't see those little diagonals, that's more for somebody who has a more neutral gait, someone who supinates quite a bit. So that's just a really quick visual for you guys as you're talking to your customers about whether they need a more supportive or neutral option. So that is just my quick spiel on Brooks. I know we're a little short on time, but I'd love to talk to you guys more about that over at my table. And please grab one of these. I also have some sports med prescription pads, so you can pick up some of those too. So as you're talking to your patients, you can recommend different models to them as well. And I have that over at my table. Switching over to the Curex brand. So Curex insoles are based out of a German biomechanics company. So our company is really founded in how biomechanics affect the foot and footwear. A lot of the shoes you see on this wall actually come directly from some of the research and development that Curex made prior to when it was actually Curex. So our roots are really deep within the running footwear field. Our inserts come in 3 different colors, and the colors also associate to arch height. So we've got low, medium, and high. Our lower arch support is going to be more rigid for that flat, more flexible arch. Our medium is going to be in the middle. And then our higher one is going to be for that higher, more rigid arch. And this support system will be more flexible, so we're not over supporting that higher arch. All 3 arch heights have the same components underneath. They have the decoupled heel, the dynamic flex plate, and they're also a 0 drop insert. So we're not changing the dynamics of the shoe in any way by having any kind of higher drop on the insert. I'll start with the decoupled heel. The decoupled heel is super important because these shoe brands spend many dollars into figuring out how that heel of the shoe crashes into the ground and how that absorbs impact. So by decoupling the heel, it allows the shoe to break away and the foot to start into its natural motion path right from the start of the gait. From that decoupled heel, we have our dynamic flex plate. As I mentioned, each color, the flex plate will have a different rigidity. And you can see this is flexible, so it's not a totally hard piece underneath the foot. Our goal is just to slow down rate of pronation, not actually stopping pronation. We just want to slow that down. And then within each of our inserts as well, if you go from extra small through extra large, the extra small will be a little less rigid and the extra large will be more rigid, just because we're assuming that as you go up in shoe size, that person has a different body type. So we're hoping that we can customize the fit both through the arch height and also through the foot size. So getting lots of customization for your patients that way. So that is it for Curex and for Brooks. I'd love to chat with you guys more, and I have some more fun stuff over at my table if you have some time after.
All right, thank you, Megan. So next up we have Ashley and Allison with Hoka. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Ashley, the account executive with Hoka. I cover the Sacramento territory and I'm based in the East Bay. I've been with Hoka about 2 years. And what I'm going to take you through are key technologies. I know we have a brief moment of time, so afterward, if you have any questions on the brand or want to go through styles and specifics, I'm happy that Alice and I could take you through them. So what I'm going to take you through is our Meta Rocker, which is one of our key technologies. And based on the different styles, it has a different variance in cushion. So it could be a little bit more aggressive, a little less, depending on the style. And then something really important about the style is our deep active foot frame. And what it's going to do is keep you in the shoe. It's kind of like a canoe and it cradles you back in there and it's going to hold you into place. And then we have our Rocky. So within the category, we have our neutral and then we have our stability shoes. So the Rocky and the Gaviota are 2 stability shoes in the category. And what they have is a J frame. So the J frame is going to be a little bit firmer and it's going to be more stable. And then the ever-growing category for us is our Aura category. This is really great for someone who wants that cushioning and support. And it's going to provide them more cushioning when you're walking around the house, or for that person that already knows and loves the brand. It's just something to give them that extra stability when you're inside. Really great for people with plantar fasciitis. And then I'm going to show you in here. So we have these little handouts that I'll give you, and it's really great to take to your stores to pass out to your customers, and then the little footwear referral pads. So within here, we have styles broken down into different categories, and they are accepted by the American Medical Podiatric Association. And each season, when these styles update, the updates are approved as well. So I'm happy to take you through any of those. If you have any other questions, then we'll save them until the end. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Ashley and Hoka. Next up, we have Nick with Ultra. And I know I shouldn't pick favorites, but I think Ultra is probably my favorite. I've got them on right now.
Thank you very much. Let's play that same game. Who here has heard of Ultra before? Okay, pretty good amount. All right, for those that haven't heard of us, we started about 11 years ago, coming out of the back of a specialty running store in Utah. It's kind of a special running store because the founder of that store, when he got into running, he was like an ex-college baseball player, ex-college football player, totally destroyed, got into cliff jumping, what a rapids tours, and then bodybuilding. And then his buddy's dad dared him to run a marathon, and they thought they could do it. They were super stubborn. They gave it a go, and were just, completely destroyed, obliterated, but very stubborn. So he kept at it. Had to go to the doctor. Doctor told him he'd never be a runner. Like sliver, no cartilage on his right knee, sliver on the left, and he was a 250-pound bodybuilder at the time. But he kept at it. One day he was running, and a group of elite runners kind of passed him by, and he was just kind of blown away by the fact that he was crashing down the street, and these guys weren't even touching the ground. They were just floating. And he realized, well, maybe if I tried to emulate them and run like they did, his knees wouldn't hurt as bad. And he found that to be the case. Flash forward 7 years later, he lost over 110 pounds of that muscle. He won the St. George Marathon with a 2:22, fell in love with the sport of running, met his wife running. He was a sales rep for one brand and another brand, and then had his first child and wanted to settle down, open up a running store and be local. And since that was his experience, that became the ethos of the shop. Just kind of like running, like sharing the message that running is a very accessible, fun, healthy, sustainable thing to do, that almost anybody can do it if you do it in a healthy, joint protective way. His son, our co-founder, who has the world record for 12-year-olds in the marathon, which he ran at 2:45, was like a childhood run specialty. He started working in the shop early. Nationally ranked runner in high school and college, studied biomechanics, sports sciences in college, came back to help manage the running store. And he's the one that started tinkering around with the shoes, kind of like just modifying things out, being a mad scientist, trying to help the common ailments within their local running community that they were seeing. They came across two kind of core ideas that they found worked for most of the common running issues. The first of which is kind of obvious, is just that foot-shaped toe box. Just want to not constrict the toes, keep the circulation good, allow those toes to splay, hopefully keep that big toe aligned with the arch where it's supposed to be so it can support the foot. And beneficial for a lot of the most common runner ailments like plantar fascia issues, the bunions, obviously, the bunionettes, the rheumaromas, the plantar fascia, I say that already, metatarsalgias, capsulitis, all that kind of fun stuff, as well as like the corns and the ingrown toes and the blisters and that. The second core feature is the balanced cushioning platform, which just means that even our higher cushion shoes, the heel height of the cushioning underneath you is the same as the cushioning underneath the ball of the foot. So your body's kept on that neutral platform, hopefully keeping your posture nice and aligned, keeping that weight distribution on the foot nice and easy. And then just allowing the body to do what it wants to do, and making shoes that hopefully do not affect your body's preferred motion pathways. How am I doing on time? I kind of lost myself. A minute? Okay. All right. So we make a bunch of different shoes and road and trail. Two of the big shoes that you guys should probably be aware of. The Via came out in November. It's our first max cushion shoe, specifically made to be a little bit firmer, so it still feels light and responsive when you're running. Also very inherently stable, and then just doesn't prematurely compress. very comfortable shoe and keeps your people's postures nice and aligned. A lot of hospital staff and REI staff and people that are on their feet for long periods of time are absolutely loving this. If you haven't tried it on, you should. It's a neutral shoe in the max cushion category. Our high cushion category, our dynamic stability shoe, which is also amazing, is the Paradigm 6 currently. A little bit more playful for the runners. Has a nice little rock to it, a lot of cushioning, a big old guide rail to help keep your foot aligned if it ever becomes fatigued, or just needs a little bit of extra alignment, as well as it has a mesh paneling on top of the strobel layer that's connected to this Innovarch system that kind of supports your navicular bone in the medial side of the foot on top of that guide rail, but also gives your arch like a little hammock hug from underneath when you snug up the shoe, which just helps support the foot proprioceptively to give it a little reminder not to overload that sensitive area of the foot without giving it like a rigid artificial, too much of a rigid artificial support, and just still allow those biomechanics and motion pathways to go through the way they're supposed to. If you have any questions, please let me know. Got tons of shoes to try, and I can talk for a long time. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Nick. Next up, we have Kyle, who's here on behalf of Topo Footwear and Features Socks.
Cool. I don't need this. First and foremost, thank you for coming out and supporting Gold Country Run and Sport, the local run specialty store. So I appreciate, obviously, your service to their support. To Sarah and Leon and to Don, thank you for inviting us today. As Sarah mentioned, my first name is Kyle, and I work for an agency that represents 8 brands, and we cover California, Nevada, Arizona, and Hawaii. But obviously, I'll speak to you tonight about both Feature Socks as well as Topo. So I'm essentially just going to kind of go off my nose, so I stay on topic and I stay within 5 minutes of talking. I can definitely get into more specifics about the sock brand with Features, as well as get into more dynamics with Topo as well. So I just wanted to provide you just a bit of an overview of both brands, especially if you're not as familiar with Topo, or if you're not as familiar with Feature Socks as well. So first and foremost, Features has been around for 20 years. Their start into the market is in run specialty. So you will find them in run accounts, green grass shops and golf shops and cycling, as well as outdoor. That has been kind of their focus to go after and basically produce a high-end performance sock for your walker and your runners. So over time, we've kind of evolved with our product mix. And so essentially, we started out essentially with the high performance sock, which was kind of our entry into the market and providing 2 different thicknesses, both a thin and a cushion. And where we changed the thickness is in the heel and the forefoot, so in the impact area. So through all our socks, we don't firm it up, or we don't really fill it up in the mid area, but just obviously as we go up to a different weight, we increase that obviously in the heel and the forefoot. So with the HP, more of a kind of an entry-level price point. We do most of our business. I just wanted to do an overview on that, is the Elite sock. And the Elite for us really kind of speaks to both left-right specific and target compression, which we incorporate on the interior of the arch. So essentially, there's no movement in there, and then obviously you're not going to get any moisture or cause any blisters. On all the packaging, we guarantee the life of the sock. So if there's discomfort or anything where the consumer or your patient does not like, they can return it. Obviously, you get their money back, or we'll exchange it for another style. So we back up what we say on that aspect. On the Elite, we take that same platform and then kind of speak to your world, and we incorporate that into a plantar fasciitis sock, both in a no-show tab, a quarter, and a crew. And we also do a graduated compression sock as well. So those are definitely big styles for us, important obviously in your world too. And then on top of that, we also do a therapeutic or diabetic sock. So we produce this in both a quarter as well as a crew, and a couple different colors. So you have a non-biting top and obviously seamless toe construction. So we also have goodie bags that in the back when you guys are leaving, with both the PF as well as a therapeutic sock. So something for yourself, your staff, obviously, or you can dish that out to your favorite patient. That is Features. A couple other things I just wanted to kind of hit on on that aspect. So like I said, they're family run, guarantee the socks. Cycle, we keep core. We update those colors. We keep that in for about 18 months, and then seasonal colors we come and go. They kind of splash around and complement what's good for that particular season, and then move on. For Topo, this is interesting. This is a brand that's been around since 2013, so a little bit after Ultra, but it was started by Tony Post, and Tony wanted to produce a wider toe box, but he also wanted to focus on the waistline or the instep of the shoe, as well as the heel counter. So what we're trying to accomplish is an articulated heel counter and a waistline that's secure, and let the forefoot of the shoe do the rest. So if these two areas of the shoe are fitting for your patient, the shoe will function out as well. We believe in zero drop. I'm a firm believer. Our agency used to sell Ultra, and I believe in foot strength. But we also know that sometimes consumers want to try something before they drop down to that level. So we offer both a 3 and a 5 millimeter offset in both our road as well as our trail shoes. The other thing that we do that's unique, because we are a smaller brand, we update our product every 2 years. So essentially, when we come to market with a new style, it's there long enough for that consumer to buy into it, come back 6 months later, 12 months later, and still be in the same shoe. We also have 4 or 5 models that we have APMA certified. So definitely that can speak to what you do in your world, and then come in and obviously showcase it here in the store. So the Phantom, the Ultra Fly, as well as the Ultra Venture trail shoe are all APMA certified. It's kind of a quick overview. I can get in more tech with the socks as well as the shoes. Again, thanks, Sarah, Leon. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Kyle. We have just a couple more for you. So next up, we've got Larissa with Ethos. I'll just throw the mic just in case. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Larissa. I am the UFO's tech and field marketing rep for the Northern California area. I have been in the footwear industry for the past 7 years, and I've seen the wonders that footwear can do for people, whether they're trying to perform or overcome pain. UFOs is something I'm very passionate about, and our entire mission is to make you feel better. That is, good. That's our key phrase, is to make you feel better. We're really big on that double O, ooh, and why are we called UFOs? Such a silly name, but it's because when consumers place our shoe on and step into it, the first thing we usually hear is, ooh, ooh, ooh. So we have some good reactions that way. And so our story is all about active recovery, and we do that through 2 key mechanisms. One is our patented footbed, it's very unique, and 2 is our proprietary foam blend. So one without the other is not an UFO. You can create a shoe with that same foam, wouldn't have the same health benefits. You can create a shoe with the same footbed, and it would still not have the same health benefits. So we really struck gold with the combination of these 2 things. So starting with that footbed, first of all, let's look at this. This sandal moves. It's got quite a bit of motion. Now let's talk about that. During COVID, we got very busy, and I'm sure you guys did too, because we had a lot of people going, life's great. I can stay home and walk around barefoot all the time. And we had standing desks, and the increase in plantar fasciitis cases went through the roof. And so what we realized is people like being barefoot. Oh my goodness, when you walk barefoot on the sand, or think you're on the beach, on the grass, it's a lovely feeling. It's soft, it moves under you, and you have contact with every point of your foot. That is the idea here. This delivers the benefits of walking on a natural surface. It is meant to move like a natural surface and yet connect with every point of the tissues on your foot. So when you touch the ground, this is actually going to disperse the impact through the outside of this footbed, creating less pressure where we usually get that acute pain in our arch from plantar fasciitis cases, where that main lesion is, or where you're dealing with other issues due to pressure in the forefoot or the heel. So the big number we boast is 37% more impact absorption than any other EVA on the market right Another really big number that we like to say is our 47% reduction in energy expenditure in your ankle musculature. 47%, that's almost 50. That's quite a big deal for people who have just undergone an ankle surgery or a reconstructive procedure on their foot. So yeah, that's a really great way they can help you feel better. The last thing I'd really like to say is our crowning jewel with OOFOS, besides just feeling great and easy to wear, the APMA seal of acceptance. We really like the idea that we can accommodate many different types of patients and people who like different things on their feet. So we've got clogs, we've got an open toe, we've got a slide, we have slippers, we have boots, and across our entire line of footwear, we are APMA certified. We really like to keep that same footbed and the proprietary foam in every single shoe, so we're consistent. If you haven't had a chance yet, please go over and try on some OOFOS. We're giving away 7 free pairs tonight. So in order to enter that raffle, you put it on, you go ooh, ah, and put it away, and then enter the raffle and you can win one. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Larissa. And our last presentation tonight is going to be from Bruce, who's here with OS First Socks.
You? Let's just put this on. That's number 1. Hi there, my name is Bruce Cannon. I'm here from OS First. Also a couple other brands that I'll talk about. This is kind of a celebration week for me. Next week is my 40th year in running special distance. So we're very cool. The reason why I'm here is because of stores like this that inspire me, because they are committed to, fitting people properly. I got into the running special business because somebody fit me into a pair of shoes that was the wrong shoe for me. So I wanted to learn everything about the shoes and hung out at the local running store so much they asked me to be the buyer. And so I've been around for various companies. OS First, as far as a brand here, stands for Ortho Sleep First. Number 1 problem we hear running specialty is plantar fasciitis. We've sold over 2 million of these braces, 6 different zones of compression. Stands for Ortho Sleep First, the first thing against your foot. In running stores, we tend to fit people backwards. Somebody comes in and they say they have plantar fasciitis. We say, what kind of shoes are you wearing? Whereas if you go to the doctor, doctor looks at their foot, touches their foot, says you have plantar fasciitis, and prescribes rest, ice, compression, elevation. So here's the compression component, 6 zones of compression. We also do a plantar fascia kit that you see back there, which has a nighttime sleeve, as well as 2 socks that are 4 zones of compression overall. So OS First has done extremely well coming from the medical background overall. From there, of late, we have now gone with problem-solving socks. We have a bunion relief sock, 2 in addition to problem or a plantar fascia sock. And then we took our technology, the 4 zones of compression, with regular socks. The philosophy with the regular socks is a deep heel, 4 zones of light compression to enhance the fit to the middle of the foot, and then a nice wide toe splay so that way your toes can wiggle naturally overall. So we have kits for you guys too. If you don't get a kit, if we don't run out, please come to the table. I've got some free socks that I can give you there, and happy to give you a brace also. So a couple of the other brands I'm here with is, let me reach my pocket here, is Superior Electrolytes. So Superior Electrolytes is a natural electrolyte drink. There's nothing lab created. The owner of the company has been doing electrolytes for over 30 years. He got tired of being a formulator, and his real ingredients to create being changed to lab ingredients. So all real ingredients. It tastes great. Like I said, there's nothing lab created. So as we get older, we have more trouble absorbing minerals and vitamins. So this is a great solution. And the last thing, let's see which one it is I do a brand called Squirrel's Nut Butter. And this is actually a foot solve that was originally done for healing purposes. The owner of the company, husband and wife, their daughter had eczema. And they tried everything for over-the-counter medications as well as steroids, and nothing worked. So the wife, she actually was a nurse. She started getting out, cooking, up all natural ingredients, and she found a combination of the vitamin E, coconut oil, cocoa butter, and beeswax. And so it works great for anti-chafing, but originally it was for healing. And so a guy whose nickname was Squirrel, who worked for the husband, he's an arborist, cutting down trees and everything, climbing trees. So Squirrel tried it with instead of what he was using for his bike shorts, and it worked great for preventing chafing. So that's Squirrel's Nut Butter. I have samples over at the table on that. We also do Happy Toes, which is another foot healing one, which has peppermint as well as tea tree oil that helps to heal the fissures in the foot with cracking and with bunions. And it can provide some relief overall. So that's another great product that we do, and it's great because you get a tin of this and you say, you do my feet first, and then I'll do yours. So, but thank you. Come by and make sure you grab your OS First products and grab some Squirrel's Nut Butter. And I do have Superior on tap, and you can do some shots of that with me.
Cool. Thank you so much to all of our brand representatives for that information. I hope everyone got to learn more about brands they might not have been too familiar with. So just a couple more things on our agenda. We're going to go over our medical referral program and how it benefits, your patients as well as yourselves. But I quickly just want to touch on some of the other kind of injury management and prevention tools that we have in the store. So we do have CBD MD. CBD is a great tool that we can use for inflammation. We have topicals as well as gummies. These ones are not full spectrum, so there's no THC in any of these products. At our El Dorado Hill store, we have just a couple SKUs that are full spectrum, and it's like 0.03% THC. But these ones are no THC in those products. We also have like traditional foam rollers, so trigger points. So this is great, breaking up those fascial layers, rolling out your quads, rolling out anything that feels tight. And then we have rock tape, which is just another form of KT tape, as well as another brand of compression. So we have OS First compression. We also have CEP. So CEP is truly graduated compression. So it's going to be tighter at your toes and not as tight as the calf. And the whole point of that is to promote circulation back up to your heart. And then, of course, we have our powered massage tools as well. We have Theragun as well as Hyper Ice. I myself personally have a Theragun, but they're both excellent. And their whole deal is they're going to have a higher millimeter amplitude, so they're going to penetrate deeper into those muscle layers. And it can just be sometimes, when you're foam rolling, there are places that are just kind of harder to get to. The massage tool is great because it can just really target in and get those specific areas. And then we do have the Normatec Go as well. And this is like a really intense compression, almost like a blood pressure cuff that can kind of go on the calves. And we have, I think, maybe one or two of the full legs in El Dorado Hills as well. It feels nice. It's pretty relaxing. We have a set at the Folsom store, and sometimes I'll do a run, and then the hour before we open, I'll work on my computer and just have the beats on. So I'm lucky in that way. But yeah, so definitely like lots of great products here that your clients can use to, hopefully manage their injuries and get injured less often. So yeah, before we wrap up and open up for questions, I'll just kind of give everyone an overview of the referral program that we have in place. So for your clients, when you refer them to us and they bring in that flyer, they're going to get a 10% discount on any full price items in the store. And that's for their whole purchase, not just for footwear. So any full price items, we get them fitted out, shoes, socks, insoles. And then if they return to our store, the discount is a one-time referral, but after that point, they'll be enrolled in our loyalty program. And so for every $250 they spend on full price items, they get a $25 store credit back. So it's essentially like they're still getting a 10% discount. It just comes on the back end. And then for you as providers, we do offer a 15% personal use discount. So for anyone who becomes like a partner with us, you have your own discount code. And then when you come in and do your own shopping, you would receive 15% off any regularly priced item in the store. And we will be doing some kind of like semi-annual little contest too. So we'll set, basically, if you'd like to become a partner with us, we would create a coupon. So if someone comes in, we would take their flyer and see who they're referred to by. And when they get their 10% off, we would use your coupon for that. And then every 6 months, we're going to kind of look at our top 3 partners and basically give out, free pair of shoes, free pair of UFOs, and free insert with some socks. So just a little bit of like healthy competition there as well. So yeah, so that's the end of like our formal presentation. So we're going to open it up for questions. We're going to start with any that came in on our Zoom call. Dan, did we have any questions come in on Zoom?
So on the Zoom call, there was a lot of chatter about UFOs. Everybody seems to like the UFOs. I did get a question about the features, the therapeutic sock. The question was, what makes them therapeutic?
Okay, so the question that came in on Zoom is, what makes the features sock therapeutic? Kyle, do you want to?
Talking about the PF sock or the diabetic?
Diabetic sock.
Sorry, I just had a screw wobble. Basically, from the diabetic sock is a non-biting upper and then a seamless toe all the way through. So essentially, it's kind of simplistic in the sense that obviously from the quarter as well as through the crew offers that to, excuse me, I'm sorry, your patient. Hopefully that answers the question for. Any other
So
questions?
it's the seamlessness,
Excuse me?
so that's the seamlessness that makes it a therapeutic sock?
Well, it's really the non-binding. That's the most important part on the upper part of the sock, because you can't have it. I'm wearing a crew right now, and this definitely is secured up here, but obviously somebody who's a diabetic couldn't wear the style of the sock. So our therapeutics, and you can take them, I have them on the table. Obviously it secures around the foot, but it's a non-binding upper on it. Yeah.
Were there any other Zoom questions that came through?
Just about the referral pads, if they
Oh,
get them
yes.
sent to their office.
Yes, so we have referral pads. We do not have enough for everyone. I think we have about 20 of them. So we'll distribute those, but we're also wrapping up our electronic flyer. It's going to be like just a printout. So in the meantime, you can at least use those if you don't get a prescription pad tonight. And if you'd like a prescription pad, just reply to the email when we send you the flyers, and we're going to get more printed like very shortly.
Also, if they have their own, we'll take theirs.
Yes, if you have your own referral prescription pads, we will take your own as well. Definitely. And are there any other questions from anyone here? Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much again for everyone who attended both in person and virtually. Again, this like really surpassed our expectations. And thanks again to all of our brand reps for coming out. So this concludes the formal presentation. So I'll say goodbye to everyone on the Zoom call. But for everyone else here, yeah, stick around for a little bit, explore the store. If you have any questions about the products, like let me know. Thank you.